So they didn't come to survive this world. They came to rebuild it. That's what we're going to talk about today is the babies that are coming in. And I'm really excited. Dayna had this idea and Lisa just had a new addition to her family. And we're really excited to do this show with you guys today.
Yeah. No, I've been
So,
really looking forward to this, and thank you, Dana, so much for doing this.
My pleasure. I think it's so beautiful to have a new addition to the family. So we really want you to give us as many details as possible and just share your experiences and how everything's been so far. I know you touched on it with a video with Honey a couple days
Yeah.
ago, but just to reconnect with it, love to hear
Well,
more.
here's the interesting thing is that she had the baby in 3 hours from her first contraction, and
Hmm.
the hospital was an hour away. So she was in labor in the car. And so the baby came out fast.
Hmm.
And everyone told me when I had to become when I was going to become a grandmother that it would change my life, but I never quite understood to the degree. And a couple of things came up for me when I held her. I just saw my ancestors because I knew three of my great grandmothers. I knew all my grandparents up until I was at around high school age, through high school and into college. I had almost all four of them. So I had a great relationship with them. And so as I held her, I just thought about back and back and back. For me, my ex husband, and Haley's in laws and their ancestors, like how much goes into the ancestry and the culture, everything, all the trauma, all the gifts that have to come in for that one child. That overwhelmed me. And then I thought about all my own personal trauma that I went through in my life and how hard I've worked to clear all of that. And as I held her, I was like, she's not going to have that. She's going to get to come in and just be her. And that, I just sat there and wept. And I was crying as I held her, and my daughter walked in. She said, "Oh, Sloan healing you?" I said, "I think she is."
mhm.
I love it.
So it's magical. I can't get enough of her, and no, it's really special. And to see how it's changed my daughter and my son-in-law so quickly. I mean, she's only a couple weeks old at this point. Yeah.
That is beautiful. So that initial eye contact that you have with
Yes.
a newborn, the body creates the same chemicals and enzymes, not really chemicals, more like enzymes and reaction in the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland creates oxytocin for birth and also when you're connecting with the newborn. And that is the love drug, if you want to call it that. But it does allow the body to open up. It also allows for deep healing
Mhm.
on many different levels. And a lot of people say it's just for the mom or dad, but I think it's for the entire generation, all the generations involved in that little human. So I think did you have a lot of eye contact or was it just the
Immediately.
okay.
Immediately, like she was so aware. I actually have a photo, it's on my phone. I'm sure my daughter wouldn't be happy with me showing this, but I mean, she was just looking right up at me. Just
Wow.
right, yeah. And there's another photo of her doing that with my son-in-law. Just she looks right into your eyes. I don't remember, the other thing is they chose not to do anything with that.
Yeah.
I
Or
didn't
the
know what I could
drops
say.
too, right?
Or the drops, none
Good.
of that.
Hmm.
And they waited, they had the placenta, they let it clear. So I had read a lot about those drops were actually doing to the pineal gland. They were disconnecting people from source right at birth.
Yeah.
That is, yeah. and also the vitamin K shot.
Yeah,
There's some questioning about those as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, so it looks like they did their research, which is a big deal when you're welcoming a baby into the world, making sure that you actually look at everything, you check the boxes. What do they really need? What do they not need? A lot of skin to skin contact,
yeah.
which it sounds like she was able to get between your daughter, your son-in-law, and yourself and any visitors. Beautiful. Hmm.
Yeah.
So you talked about the soul connection. Did you imprint any soul connections or past life remembrances? Did anything come through, or was it more ancestral?
It was more ancestral to me.
Hmm.
I didn't really, I hadn't really focused on that. It's really more like all of a sudden I got this flood. But here's something that's interesting, and I shared this with Honey the other day. Um, my grandmother, my father's mother, her name was Rose, and she loved to drink port, and I had kind of forgotten that. And I was in Montreal getting ready to fly, and I stopped at a restaurant, and I sat down, and I just went, I don't know why, but I'm in the mood for a glass of port. And I said, oh, my grandmother used to drink port. I'm going to have a glass and just think about her for a moment. And then I got overwhelmed with this really strong perfume. And I thought it was the women next to me in the next table. And I was like about to gag. It was so strong. And my friend who I was with was like, there's no perfume here. I was like, oh no, we are like bathed in perfume right now. She said no. And then as we walked down to go back to the hotel, I smelled it again. And I was like, oh, that was my grandmother. And I thought, I don't know if the new baby that's come in is one of my ancestors or not. Um, no.
It's so the baby is one of your soul children.
Okay.
So she's very important, and so your soul is connected to that baby.
Yeah.
And she is like a house of fire, this girl. So she's gonna do really big things. She's gonna walk like there's this I think it was in the something monkeys, the 50 monkeys or 70, I don't know, with Brad Pitt. There was a movie called The Something Monkeys. Anyway, and maybe you can put it in the comments if you remember what it is. But basically, Brad Pitt said, when my father walks, the ground shakes. Right. It was really, and she will be like that, not scary, but people will notice when she walks by. People will pay attention, and she will carry an air of calm, but also an air of like, wow, who's that? You know,
Wow.
kind of
Well,
thing. Because she's bringing in so many fractals into her little body. Like she's not here to just like hang out and play Legos. Like she's gonna create the new world. That's what she's here for.
ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So when I just so you know, Dana, I get confirmations. It goes up my spine and down my shoulders. So if you see me do that,
Go for it. No, I've seen that on your videos, so I love it.
yeah.
And when I was tapping into her energy and your energy before we started this video, I did get a female grandmotherly presence that was around, and the message is, and the reason why you smelled the perfume, she's trying to tell you she met your granddaughter before you did. Like
Oh,
in the,
wow.
Mm.
yeah. So
Mhm.
she's like, hey, I got to meet her before you.
Oh,
And,
yes.
she's
I feel
just
the
saying
goosebumps.
we reconnected. Yeah, beautiful. And now I really want to talk about telepathy because they come in with the language of telepathy. They don't come in speaking English, right? Or
Mm-mm.
Spanish or whatever your family speaks. So honing that and using it and also teaching them the verbal language so they can, you know, actually process things in daily life and be productive, but the telepathy part is huge. So when
Mm.
I had my second son, we practiced telepathy a lot. So I tapped instead of, verbally talking to him, which I did. Obviously, I sang to him and all those things. I checked in with him on a telepathy level. Are you hungry yet? What do you want to eat today? Are you ready for your nap? Do you want to do tummy time? Like all the little questions. And it was beautiful. Have you had any telepathy moments with her?
I have sat with her and actually had conversations telepathically. So because I intentionally, to help my daughter out, she was pumping, and I would sit and hold her, and I would ask to take the 2 to 6 a.m.
Mhm.
time so that I could just have her with no distractions. And it was really more about, she was really grateful. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
She was really grateful to have me there.
Yep.
totally.
And I have to say, people love their own children, but my daughter's a really wonderful mom, and her husband has become an amazing father. And I am so, and there was a lot of conversation about gratitude.
Mhm.
I mean, she's still going to bowl them over anyway because they're not really awake to what I know and everything. So I keep getting the message that I'm going to be their translator.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Yeah. And she won't carry any of the trauma
No,
from the whole family line. She didn't come for that. She's not interested.
no,
So she will push it out of people if they're carrying it and trying to project it towards her.
yeah.
She will basically say, no, go deal with yourself. And it could be stressful. And that's what the new babies have been doing.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
saw a video this morning. I think I sent it to you. Was this, they had this little girl and she had an eye mask on with another mask over it. And they had her building, building blocks, red, yellow, blue, and
Mhm.
white, and all different sizes. And the gentleman was just saying, pick up the red one, and it was like she could literally, I'm just curious what that looks like from a perspective when your eyes are closed. What is she actually seeing?
It depends. Like for me, I probably wouldn't see the actual block in my head. I would just know where to go,
Okay, it's just like an
But
yeah,
with them, with a baby or a young child, I bet they see it all
just as if
because there's no boundaries like with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that would be clairvoyant, where she's actually seeing the color in her
Mhm.
head. Clairsentient or claircognizant would be honey,
they're
where you just
cognizant. Yeah,
know. And then the smell that you had, I think it's Claire
was it
gustatory. One of them is
gustatory, the
where you can taste
olfactory?
it,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
other one is where you can smell it. And then Claire audience is where you can actually hear it. So it's very interesting. But yeah, those clairs are extremely strong with
yeah.
the new
They're coming
generation.
in a lot stronger, and even to a point, and I shared this with Honey. As I was walking the streets of Montreal, it was bitter cold. It was like -1 Fahrenheit, and the wind was whipping, and the sidewalks were slush and ice. And I was being really careful walking, and all of a sudden, both feet just went out. Like I didn't remember falling, and I landed flat on my back, but I didn't hit my head. Nothing hurt. I have no bruises, nothing. And Honey was like, "Oh yeah, you were cradled." And I was like, that's so there's so much that's changing in our frequencies right now and what we're seeing and you know, I don't know, that was really wild because I was like, how did I get down here and nothing hurts
Mhm.
on a concrete sidewalk?
Yeah. Well, we're glad you're okay for
Yeah,
one thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but it was pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That could have been worse. Thank God it wasn't.
Yeah.
So that's important. So I wanted to kind of touch on the generations, and each one of us are a part of these generations. So I'm just going to read the generations that we've had in the past and how we're moving into the future. So the silent generations were born in 1928 to 1945. They were right before the baby boomers and right after the Great Depression. So they were almost like a gap. They filled a gap between two really emotionally charged generations. Then you have the baby boomers, which many of you watching are part of, 1946 to 1964. Then you have Gen X, which is probably all three of us.
No, I'm a
1960.
boomer.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
you. Well, you look
Yeah.
like a Gen X.
I'm a Gen X. Yeah.
Yes, and I just made it in 1979. So 1965 to 1980, Generation X. I know, right? Yeah, I feel more Gen X than millennial. I do not connect to the millennials. So after X, there's Y, which is also millennials, and they're 1981 to 1996. And they're so special that they got a nickname because, and we're not going to go into like the archetypes of each one, but the millennials they weren't latchkey kids. They didn't drink from the garden hose. They were really pampered. They had karate at 6, music lessons at 8, things like that. They're very scheduled. Then you had Generation Z, which was born 1997 to 2010. Now, after Z, the next natural step would be A. So I believe when I did the research that a couple, there was people in Australia that actually looked at what is the next generation going to be called. So they're calling the next generation after Z Alpha or A. So they're
Mhm.
born 2010 to 2024. And then after that, we start with the 1 year and the horse, the fire horse. 2025 is Generation Beta or Generation B, whatever you want to call that, but they're calling it Beta. And that's 2025 to 2039. So we actually have these brackets, and Alpha and Beta, I wasn't really familiar with them, so I did some familiarity. When you read up on it, the people typing, or if you go to parents.com, or I think I read an article on today, .com, it's very muggle. Like we're not really sure what these generations are going to do. They're going to be really tech savvy. They're going to be social media is always going to be around, but they don't go into the spiritual aspects of what they're going to be. So we are going to fill that gap, or the folks of us watching this, we're going to fill that gap for explaining their archetype basically.
So I
So
have
they
a
can
question.
also go ahead.
Sorry. How is AI going to impact this next generation? Because
Mm.
I feel like that's going to be a huge influence on them. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's just.
It'll be considered an assistant, just like we use it, but almost like, so think about the conventional school. So AI will probably be the teacher of the basics in a lot of ways. Um, the parent will also be involved in that, but the kid will probably go back and forth with the AI, like, well, how do I do this math problem? How do I get this? Because I get that people in the future and the kids that are here now, they're going to learn just the basics and everything else will be tutored. So they'll be exploring their own passion, their own purpose, but they will learn reading and writing and they will learn basic math. And the AI will help with that. And it could even be like, a robot. It may be a robot like, I don't remember what her name was, Rosie,
Oh yeah,
the robot.
the Jetson.
And yeah, I mean, that could be the teacher of the basics. And other than that, they're just going to get information from AI, information. Um, they'll use it for communication,
Mhm.
but it'll be fairly stilted, I think. Like they're not going to have kids involved in social media. The AI won't go that far for them. And they're going to have a more real type upbringing with actual people and beings, and they won't be so isolated and using social media because people will realize how addictive it is for children and how it's kind of actually quite negative for their brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
No,
That makes
I,
a lot
I
of sense.
totally agree. Because the reason why I was asking is that I've seen a lot of the professors and the teachers right now are struggling with the whole thing because the kids are writing their papers using AI and not actually learning the material. And, you know, it's a great tool to help, like if you want to write something, but then it's like people using it to write books and things where it's just taking what's already there. And I worry about the creativity of this next generation and being it. So I'm glad you said that, honey, about them, kind of putting the social media and everything to the side.
Yeah. And if a kid wants to be a writer, then they'll go and they'll basically intern with the writer. And they could be 7 and going and learning how to write.
Yeah.
You know, if that's their thing, if that's what they want. And they may have lots of mentors in their lifetime, but they'll go from one, I don't know why I'm so like dried out, but one to the other.
Yeah.
And that'll be the way that they really learn what they're passionate about and what they want to do. No kid is going to be required to turn in nonsense, stuff like, oh, everybody has to read this book and then turn in a book report. They're just not going to do that anymore. So there'd be no reason that they should just use AI for that because they don't want to do it.
So it's almost like we're going back to the apprenticeship kind of format.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think hands-on is going to be really important as
Mhm.
we move forward. Yeah, so the elementary schools, they have built-in modules. So we had to invest in tablets for both kids, which is fine. And they call it iReady here in Broward County. They're in the Broward County School in Florida. But yeah, it's a lot of tutorials, it's a lot of learning online, and a lot of interactive things where they have to swipe the word to the right area and things like that. So that might be the AI component. But they also have the Echo Dots, the Alexas basically in some of the schools. And we got one for our older son. He's definitely a star seed. He's just all ET soul, loves tech, loves anything technology. So he wanted one, and we got him one. And you can ask it to play Michael Jackson or play a certain song, ask any questions. I think they made it for children as well. And whether it's collecting data or not, I'm not sure, but I'm sure it is because that's what AI does. But if he whispers to the Echo Dot, Echo Dot whispers back, as opposed to if you asked another type of AI. We also have Google, the Google Pods in our house as well. Another birthday gift from a family member. Those do not do the quiet. So it's learning and it's growing, and it's really interesting, I think. And then also my older son said, well, AI is going to take our jobs in the future. He must have heard that from my husband. I'm like, well, what if AI took something that you don't like to do so you can do something that you want to do? He was like, oh.
I'm good with that.
That would make sense.
No,
Mhm.
it's so interesting because I think about if I had the guidance as a child, because I had learning disabilities. I am dyslexic, and I even when I take notes I laugh because I look and I turn letters backwards, and even my numbers I have to go over and over and over things. So school for me was really hard. And the idea of memorizing all that information and just to be able to spit it out, it never made sense to me. And I left my body as a child. I just left my body. I was daydreaming all the time. And I love the idea that they can actually follow these children's interests and find things and actually make their days fun. and make it interesting, and look forward to school instead of like feeling like you're being punished and drudgery. I mean, I was tortured over my grades. I felt like I was stupid. I never wanted, I never thought I'd ever amount to anything. And they take out the whole idea of emotional intelligence and the creativity, which AI can't do. That's where our gifts are in our emotional intelligence, and that's what they're gathering the information for. And so that's going to be the cool part, is that we get to really grow our emotional intelligence and watch them really step into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's all going to be that. It's about you and your intuition and your emotion and your awareness. And that's what it's all going to be about. And AI is starting to catch up to that. Like, as far as answering back in a proper way for people. But for kids, it'll be more questioning, I think.
Mm.
Hmm.
It'll be programmed to ask more questions of them than giving them all the answers. And it will lead them in a direction, like if it is a math problem or whatever, like something that's complicated, it will lead them incrementally into finding out the answer on their own. So it'll be a great teacher for those basics. And then they'll go and get mentorship. And a lot of people will be in communities. So they'll live in a community and the kids will go and they'll go look and see what, like, let's say some guy named, I don't know, John is doing, right? And maybe John is like his favorite thing. So I'll just use my husband as an example.
I was waiting for
His
that.
favorite thing is cars, right? So if they don't know how to fix something, that's mechanical, then they can go and see, well, is that something I want to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to go hang out with John for 2 days and see, is that my passion right now? And they'll go and they'll learn. And not only will they learn how to fix a car, but they'll learn how to create with mechanical things.
Hmm.
So it's just going to really progress. And kids are going to be so much smarter because they're born genius level. Almost all babies are born as geniuses, and it fades right around, it starts to fade around kindergarten.
Yeah.
So it's time for them to be allowed to continue to be geniuses throughout their entire lives.
Yeah. Well, how many? I don't know, because I'm older than both of you, but when I was in middle school, junior high age, we had home economics. We got to learn how to sew. I remember the skirt that I made, the blouse that I made. We learned to cook. There was shop where we got to learn, how to make things with wood. They took all of that out of the school. And if you think about what's been taught, at least from now, is things that don't mean anything. It's like, okay, you learn economics, but no one learns how to manage your money. No one learns how to invest. They don't teach basic life skills. They leave everyone to be dependent on, these other systems, and they take it all away. Even, you remember years ago, there was a family that was growing their a garden in front of their, it was in Florida, in front of their house, and they got arrested for having a garden on their
Oh,
property. So they could, it was a vegetable garden, and they got in trouble from their HOA.
yeah.
It's
It's
insane.
horrible.
So
Yeah.
it's really exciting to see these old practices. And even, you don't see anyone who knows how to do the woodwork, and very few people know how to do those old woodwork, or even shoemakers. You see, all of those old trades that have really gone by the wayside. Everything's disposable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. All that's going to change.
Yeah.
Hmm. It's coming back. Cursive will come back. They don't teach
Mhm.
cursive anymore in schools, so that's going to come back. They used to teach everyone Latin maybe 50 years
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
or 100 years ago. Everyone learned Latin in schools. That went away.
Yeah.
So, and I don't even think we're going to call it school anymore, because the word school, if you invert it, it's louche for a reason. I
Whoa.
Yeah.
learned,
Whoa.
yeah. I learned that from Sherry Divbrand.
Wow, she's awesome. I love
Yeah,
her.
she's amazing. So there's a lot of information on her channel if you want to visit her,
Yeah.
if you're looking for more information. With regards to the souls coming in, these alpha beta generations, they're rainbow and crystal. We have different ways to connect to this generation. So we've heard rainbow children, crystal children. The crystals are probably more angelic souls, maybe elementals. They're just really
Mhm.
easy breezy, go with the flow. Rainbows, I'm not really sure how to define them. They're pretty much the spectrum of a rainbow, basically,
Mhm.
here to learn everything. And then you have the star seeds, which are much more analytical. So as your granddaughter grows up, you'll get to see which one she connects to and connect with her. And I feel like we heard a lot about indigo children. I feel like they spanned the space and time from Dolores Cannon's second wave, third wave. They're in every single generation, like the rule breakers, basically.
Yeah.
Really
Like
interesting.
me.
Yeah. The questioners, yeah.
Exactly.
Um,
Why?
And I think the new generation, they're going to have all three aspects of Dolores Cannon's three waves of volunteers. So, in a way,
Mhm.
they're scouts, but they don't have to go through all of the hardship because the energies are working with them right now. They're flowing with the river instead of being pummeled by the low vibration that the scouts came in with. And then you have the second wave, which of volunteers, I sometimes want to call them antennas. They come into a room and they just shift the entire room just with their energy. They're going to be able to hold the space. And they're also the third wave, which is your game changers. These souls are going to be able to play 5D chess, which is happening right now behind the scenes, but we're actually being able to see it. So I think it's just going to be beautiful. And to go back to what you were saying about the generational baggage, they're like Teflon to that. It's just not going to affect them.
They're not
It seems,
interested.
yeah, yeah. I don't even think that their Akashic records are bringing that into their focus in this life.
No,
They're
Mhm.
mostly healed, so they don't have to deal with any of that.
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
it is beautiful because I think about what I could have done with my life if I didn't have to spend so much of it healing ancestral trauma and my own trauma as a child. I mean, that became my purpose, and that's why I help others.
Mhm.
But it's like, what else is there in me that could have come out if I didn't have to spend so much time? And I guess that was part of my agreement when I came in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the whole universe had to heal.
Yes.
So, we basically, a lot of the universe was represented here because so many souls came in to elevate Earth. And we had to do all that healing within a human body. And it wasn't only the soul, it was also the human soul that had to heal. And a lot of us have been doing that probably over the last couple of years,
Yeah.
really healing the human part of us. And we're not done, I would say, with that part. Um, but we're doing it, and the universe doesn't want to be sick anymore with polarized stuff. And it's about learning, but learning in an elevated way versus learning by having fights about it.
Yeah.
And we're just not going to be doing that anymore. So it was like the entire source of everything is like, okay, we're healing now. I don't want to have this in my body anymore. And it's done. So it's been a really big journey. And those scouts, a lot of them are coming back in as these new babies because a lot of them have passed and they're coming back in because they're like, well, I'm going to go have fun now because they had the hardest time here to start out with.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's been a tough ride. Like, I'm really looking forward to things shifting and changing in a big way. Because I was thinking about What would it be like to actually live your life without having to worry about finances, to have to worry about having to set boundaries around really dysfunctional people? And one of the things that I miss the most is the ability to have a conversation with someone you disagree with and actually learn something and say, "Oh, thank you. I learned something. I didn't," without an instant attack. Like, there's this generation that has been taught, if you don't agree with me, then you're evil or you're bad. And so there's this constant battle where there's no place for learning from one another anymore. The labels. And I'm looking forward to a generation where they can start learning from each other and know it's okay to disagree, but you don't have to hate them. And what if that person is right? Just to allow. So, from the standpoint of all of the, voice to skull, the programming, all of that is also going to be gone.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
that's
people
really good.
have discernment,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot will also be uninverted. So going back to dyslexia, when you look at the way we write, we go from left to right. But then you look at the Torah
Yeah,
and the Hebrew text, and they're from right to
right
left.
to left. Oh, I read Hebrew.
Oh,
I'm
perfect.
Jewish. Yeah, no, it is.
Yes.
It's all right to left.
Yes. And that was never touched. That was never, inverted, if you will,
Yep.
for certain reasons that we know. So maybe we are going back to learning a different way. And maybe dyslexia is the fact that your consciousness is like, hey, this is not the right way to do it.
Well, I think um, what I believe is that because a lot of people who are very psychic and intuitive are dyslexic, and I think it was a program to help protect us from
Yeah.
being programmed because we
Hmm.
learn differently. So we didn't get programmed the way other people did. We were like, no, this doesn't work. So I
Mhm.
think it for me it was a gift, and thank God back then they didn't have Ritalin and all of those other things because I know that that would have been a thing in my with my parents. I would have had more than vitamins in the morning. Flintstone chewables.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad that that wasn't. And it's kind of sad how many kids have been on those things, but I don't see that in the future at all. Any kind of things like that. It's going to be, let's work it out. Let's figure it out. Let's see what's going on here. And they'll find not only the physical stuff, but also the emotional stuff that's causing it.
Mhm.
Oh
And I
wow.
don't feel like they'll be that big of a problem actually for most of them.
Hmm.
Even autism feels a bit like a protection in a lot of ways.
Now,
Yeah.
with the vaccines changing, I think they're now it's 11 instead of 77. With all of that, because I've always there's two sides of the coin with autism and all of that, because there are those who say that those caused autism, or there are those who've said autism is something that came in, the souls came in with it.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah.
Did you have any more things that you wanted to bring up, Dana?
Well, I just wanted to touch base on the DNA that is completely intact. So, we're always hearing about the double helix. Well, now we're going to tetrahelix, which is four helixes, or even pentahelix, which is five DNA strands, all connected. And I know Atlas is helping us with our DNA right
Mhm.
now, but at the same time, we are here to do the work. We came in early to do the legwork, and now we pave the way for the new generation coming in. And we're just clearing the past and really moving forward. So there's a lot of things in the ancestral, generational trauma aspects that we're clearing. For me, I have 50% Indian from India, and there's a lot of poverty, there's caste system, there's ideas of inequality, things like that. So I know I'm clearing that. And my husband was raised Jewish as well, as yourself, Lisa. So there's a lot of things being cleared there as well. And that was like
It's a
ground
lot in
zero for a
there.
lot of things being
Yeah,
cleared. Yeah.
Mhm.
a lot.
One of the things that's going to be a big clearing is the idea that you were exiled from countries,
And
and
victim
yeah,
mentality.
the victim mentality, and even when we go through Passover Seder at my my family, my husband's family, we do that every year. We drink the salty water to kind of the tears
Tears.
of all of the the Jewish ancestry that came through. But understanding that the tiny little sect that was doing the bad things in the villages, that's why they got exiled. It wasn't the whole, it was
Right.
the thorn. Learning and moving into those clearing, just clearing that. The idea that um, that the Jewish population is God's chosen people, that's going to move into everyone is God's
We
chosen
are all
people.
chosen. I could never
Yeah.
understand that one. That always disturbed me because I never wanted people to be set apart.
Hmm.
But you're right, and it's indoctrinated at a very young age. You're a victim, and so it becomes part of our DNA that goes down generations. So even if you don't haven't had that experience yourself, you still carry it because of the generational stuff. So the idea of it's nice to acknowledge your ancestors, but we are raised to take them on. Like we carry them on our backs. And I'm sure there's other cultures that do that too, but it's very strong. It's a lot of just a lot of complaining, a lot of, everyone sees negative, a lot of stuff around health issues. And I used to laugh when I'd bring someone to, Thanksgiving with my family, and I'm like, you're going to hear about everyone's doctor appointments and their physical body issues and everything that's wrong in your entire life. And they were like, we left and they're like, yeah, you're right.
So funny. Yeah, a lot of things will fall away. And also, when you look at the male babies, circumcision is going to have to go away as well. The truth about that, what that was really about,
Yeah.
and how we don't, unless there's a medical condition, it's not really necessary. Right now, it is, you got to match daddy. Daddy needs to look like
Right.
the
Yeah.
son. So there will be, a bridge where we figure out this isn't what we really need to do in society.
Yeah. I think a lot of that's happening already.
Hmm.
And I think that will really continue because people are not going to want, I mean, imagine the trauma from that as a baby. That's a horrible thing to
It is a
do.
horrible thing. And you know
Yeah.
what? Part of the Jewish tradition is the seventh day after they're born, and it's a ritual that's done in front of, with family. And it was like, I just went along because this is what you do. Like, I didn't even question it. And then afterwards, I remember, is it Somalia where they do the female circumcisions? And I remember watching the show about it, and I was like horrified. And then I sat and I'm like, what's the difference? What's the difference? Why am I so horrified that women are being circumcised? And I did that to my son. And I had to sit with that a lot. And it was really hard. It was really hard because I was like, why do we differentiate between the two? Why do we complain and call them all these names for doing that for their women, the girls?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be.
It'll all go away.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's right. The energies won't support it. And
Mhm.
mhm. Speaking about the energies, as we move forward and as we wrap up with regards to looking at things in a different way, using the 3D lens versus the 5D lens. So going back to the beginning of the conversation where you were saying that your daughter was in labor for, you said 3 hours, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And part of that was in the car. Same thing with me, 40 minutes in the car to get to the hospital, um, doing all the things that I learned, and really learning how to see birth from a 5D perspective. And I hear this a lot in our community. We take ascension and we say that we're birthing a new era of the golden age on the planet. Yes, we are, but it depends on the lens you see that birth from. If you see birth as painful, as discomfort, as taking a long time, your ascension process is going to look just like that. But if you see it from a 5D birth perspective, it is manageable, it is calm, it is using the oxytocin from the pituitary gland to open up the body like a flower. It's a beautiful experience. Yes, there's tension and there's some discomfort, but you roll through it. You surf the waves of the contractions and you get through it effortlessly. And so I just want to challenge everyone where they saying we're birthing a new era to see it as a 5D birth and not a 3D birth, because the 3D births, and that's a part of my humanitarian project on the planet, to change that paradigm and that mindset to make it a like a better experience for a
Mhm.
lot of
I
us.
I love that. I love that idea because it's just, for me, it's become surrender, right? You just surrender to what is instead of trying to control the process. Because I had the same thing. Like I decided I was not going to have any drugs. I was going to go completely natural. And my son came in 3.5 hours, and I had my daughter in an hour and a half with no drugs, nothing. It was still painful, but there were decisions that I made, and I didn't want to hear about all the complications and all the everything else that was going to come in. I was like, no, it's not. And I just watched this earlier, that there was these women who took a glass of water and they put a pH counter in it. It's an electronic pH counter, and they both set the intention that they were putting lemon in the water without actually putting lemon in it, and the pH dropped in the counter. I mean, that's how powerful we are in
Mhm.
our thoughts. So you really have to think. They kept going, lemon, lemon, lemon. My jaws, I'm getting, my mouth is watering. I can feel my jaw, and you could literally see the counter go and change into more pH balance, alkaline. It was wild.
Yeah, because it's more energetic than physical. The
Yeah,
whole world is.
yeah.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah,
So fun.
we're
This
learning
was
and
beautiful.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want to say congratulations one more time, Lisa, because she's going to be amazing. And she already is, but like, wow,
Well,
she's going to
thank you.
do
I
amazing
miss her.
things.
I can't believe I'm away from her for 2 months, but I'm going to get some extra time with her in April. But and Dana, this is my first time doing a podcast with you, and you have the most beautiful, not only energy but just physical beauty,
Oh,
and amazing. I'm
thank
really looking
you.
forward to getting to know you more. This was really special, and honey, thank you as always.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. Yeah, this is so beautiful. And as we move through 2026, think about how they started the year with a movie of our First Lady, Melania, bringing in the divine feminine. They could have put, the White Hats could have put a movie out about anything, and they picked Melania, which is the divine feminine and bringing in that energy. I haven't seen the movie yet, and I'm planning to go see it.
I just saw it.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
What did
I need someone to do, there are some comms that you can see through it, but I want someone who's really going to decipher it, because I know there was a lot in there.
you?
Thank you for saying that, because she's powerful. She is so powerful. Oh, and Trump kept looking to her. It's like she's his rock. She's totally his rock. And now it's a movie, so you can portray it any way, but they show how much he defers to her and how much he honors and respects her. And so it shows, you know, what a true balance of divine masculine and divine feminine look like in a relationship. And that touched my heart. Thank you for bringing that
Gorgeous.
up.
Love
Yeah,
it.
beautiful. Maybe we could look at doing a part
Decode
two.
it.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to decode it because it was, I mean, she's not been in the limelight as much as I to really get to know her, and I just found her amazing, just the way she presents and carries herself.
Oh,
She just really is beautiful.
Love it.
great.
Yeah.
This was beautiful, you guys. Let us know in the comments. Do you want to decode on that movie? We would love to do that.
Yeah,
So,
I do.
yes. All right. Love you guys and
Oh,
have
love
a
it so much.
beautiful day, everybody. Okay. The new kids are going to take us further than you can even imagine.
Looking forward to that.
That's right.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Many blessings. Lots of love.